We on? I think we're on.
Yo, was we live?
Uh,
Hey man, it says recording. We're in.
Welcome to the third ever quarterly now, because we couldn't do it monthly.
Kind
Quarterly
of
fantasy,
overshot on that one.
yeah, video cast. Um, Topics today. We got football going on.
Zach, let me just say
And
this. I'm a little nervous, man. It's been a while.
we'll do.
Okay,
But
anyway, get that out of the way. Go for it. Hit him with the subjects here, bro. Hit him with it.
all right, we got football, which has been over for a good 2 months now. We have basketball, the current state of basketball, and there has been some definite ups and downs this year, especially for the reigning champ.
Why? A lot of injuries. We'll get to it. Wild season, though, man. A lot of very emotional for a lot of the players right now. A lot of tears this season. A lot of fear boners. Just that kind of stuff.
And we'll cap it off with baseball. Uh,
Yep.
Draft coming up in just 9 days, thanks to Henthorn.
Ooh, man.
But it's not really Henthorn that's completely ruining everything here. Not him really at all. It's that Japanese game that baseball decides to do every year now.
Yeah, the series over in Japan.
Yeah.
Messing up our flow, man. Messing it up.
Yeah, usually what we try to do in all the drafts is we pretty much have the draft. We pinpoint the draft to be like 3 days before the first game of all these leagues. So for football, basketball, and baseball. Then we had the lock date for keepers 3 days before that. Well, understand, people have certain things going on, and so sometimes we'll make changes. We did that for Scott in football last year, doing it for him, Henthorn in baseball. It happens. It's no big deal. We can pretty much figure it out. But usually baseball happens around, April 1st, give or take a day, and this Japanese game, which seems to be happening more and more, uh, happens what 8, 9 days before everyone else starts, and so originally we are going to do the 16th, but now we're doing this draft 3 weeks before the majority of teams start playing. So might have some change some draft indications and strategies for some people. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's tough, because you know talk about this. I think in football it'd be a bigger deal because you get a lot more injuries. But baseball is important because you might not know if a guy's going to get cut and make the final roster until a couple days before spring training's over. So if you're getting younger guys, maybe call ups, people that you hope will make the roster, you're rolling the dice, man. You don't know for sure, but when the draft happens. So we'll see.
Speaking of football, let's get to that first. Ryan Henthorn, congratulations. You won the championship because your team absolutely dominated the last few weeks of the season. I on average for the last 3 games in the playoffs, Ryan averaged over 500 points, which usually in football, if you can score 400, you probably have a 2/3 chance to win against your opponent. But he's scored 500 in the playoffs. Victorious over myself. So
Yeah,
congrats to Ryan for that.
I feel like Ryan has been living in mediocrity in the fantasy realm for the better part of the last 5 to 6 years. Just kind of hanging around with his dopey face, his big barrel chest, and he just has kind of been always kind of hovering between 3 and 5 finishes. Decent team, could never make the run. But you know what? Put it together this year, man. Congrats, Henny.
Get it. Pat yourself on the butt, Ryan.
Big old bubble butt he's got too.
um, yeah, his team was just all around good. However, I would say the MVP of our league was Saquon Barkley. He was the
That was
highest.
unreal. I
Huh?
think we finally saw what he was capable of. He was playing behind that horrible Giants O line for all these years, and it kind of pissed me off. I'm like, dang, maybe we could have had this version of Barkley this whole time, and he was just on the crappy Giants forever. So yeah, he killed, man.
64.5 points a game in our league, which was 3 points higher than the runner-up Lamar Jackson.
This might be the first time that we've ever had a non-QB lead the league in scoring.
Might be. I want to say McCaffrey had a good year a couple years ago.
Oh,
He might
seems
have, but it could be. What I thought was most impressive is Jaden Daniels. So I'll give him, obviously, everyone will probably give him Rookie of the Year. For our league, he scored 56 a game and was overall 5th in scoring.
solid.
Yeah, very solid.
Zach, the Bears.
And I had a chance to draft him, but instead I went with my home team, Chicago Bears, and picked Caleb Williams, who wasn't bad, but he was no Jaden Daniels.
Zach, will you regret this pick down the road? Too early to tell.
Probably. if that's any indication, probably. However, I will say that we got Ben Johnson now as offensive coordinator for the Bears. So
Ben Johnson.
Yep. What's
What's up, dude?
So we got football. We got the standings. Let's see, Henthorn defeated me in the championship. You and Scott made it to the Final Four. It looks like, shoot, 4 teams actually finished 4-10 and tied for last. So
hold on, Trevor got 4 wins.
Trevor, Brad, Manny, who's not playing next year, and Reeves all got 4 wins in last place.
Trevor, if you listen to this, I thought your team would be the first team to go winless in this league.
What's that?
I thought Trevor's team might be the first team to go winless in this league. But he pulled off, I think he beat me one time. Yeah.
All right, let's switch gears to basketball. Right now, Evan, you are number 1. And if things shake out the way they are right now, you're going to end up with that bye in the playoffs.
It feels good, Zach. It feels real good. I just like
because I've been relegated to 2nd place.
Which I think everybody in the league.
How personal is this feeling, Kevin?
Oh, it's very personal. Like it felt good to jump over you in the standings, man.
Yeah, I just need to give someone else a chance.
Yeah, you went on a hell of a run there for a while, and I think every time you lose a matchup, the league celebrates. We all pour out a drink every time you lose.
Sure. There's us, but then there was an up-and-comer like Batuli, who I swear angers the fantasy gods every year.
Dude, he had arguably top 3 keepers with Shea, Wemby, and Barnes. Barnes been injured a ton. Shea's doing his thing. And then the whole blood clot thing with Wemby's huge, man. What a blow, dude.
Yeah, totally. I mean, yeah, he had it. He was scoring a lot per week, and just that whole Wemby getting injured thing really, really probably cut his chances in half.
Yeah, man, that was brutal.
Per week.
Brutal.
Yeah. So hopefully for Wemby and Vituli's case, that doesn't turn into a Chris Bosh situation who had the same injury or seemed, I don't know if it's an injury or more of like a disease, but that something up with his veins and Bosh had to call it quits.
Yeah, hopefully they can take care of that, because that would be horrible if his career has to end this soon, man.
Injuries have just really killed almost all teams.
Dude, there have been so many injuries in the NBA this season, and not just nagging injuries, just like big injuries that keep people out for a month or two.
Right.
It's been rough. This year's been weird, man. The whole NBA Cup throwing the schedules off and injuries. It's been a really weird year. Usually in basketball, you can be pretty consistent with guys. They stay fairly healthy. But man, there have been so many injuries this year. And just yeah, it's been all over the place, dude.
Yeah, I think someone like Chris's team could be better. Chris has a Chris with what 3 games left currently has a who is he? He's 7-10. He could really be 10-7 or better if he didn't have so many injuries.
Oh,
Reed has had lost all 3 of his keepers. Um, and let's see who
Chet
else.
Chet missed significant. He missed like 3.5 months or something. Luca missed a couple months.
You miss. I mean, look at my team. I'm lucky to have Giannis half the week and Embiid at all, but it's
And B
Embiid.
just
I get
yeah,
it. But
he just
Henthorne's
got
had
shut
off
down.
injuries. Kevin, everyone you touch is gold, so you can just pick up Chris Stupid Dunn and he'll get you 46 points or whatever. But
The magic dust, man. Magic dust.
so yeah, I mean, as far as the basketball playoffs go, we got just share the screen really fast actually. Whoever can see this, but it's like 3 teams that have clinched already, and about 16, 7 teams, I would say, vying for the last 4 spots.
Look at it, and it looks like it's all on your side. Look how many teams are 9-8, 8-9. So there's a lot that could happen over there.
Yeah, yeah. I would say Henthorn's most likely in. We only got 2 weeks left after this matchup. So Henthorn's in. I would say if Nash, Andre, or Reed lose one more game, they're out.
Hmm.
um, you got you got Henthorn, got Vituli and Brad, who are most likely in. That's 6, so it's really up to only way Chris gets in, it looks like, is if he wins the last 2, Reed and Andre and Nash all lose their last 3, or last 2 as well. Sorry.
Yeah. And
But
who you got Andre? You guys are in a tight matchup this week, right?
we are deadlocked at 669, Kevin.
Ooh, great number. Great number.
But yeah, no, yeah, it'll be interesting towards the end of the year. Ends up making the playoffs, but man, poor Chris. He'll be
Yeah.
back.
Yep. Yep. He's got some solid keepers. Cade Cunningham's been awesome for him, dude.
Yep. Yeah,
Chris,
but Towns has been amazing as well.
trade me Cade Cunningham. I want him. I gotta say, I've got a couple MVPs on my team. Joker, obviously, he's just having a ridiculous year. But Josh Hart, man, it was kind of a panic pick for me when I drafted him. I thought I might have gone too early, but man, he's been an absolute stud for me this year. He's at like 50 a game, 51 a game. I don't think anybody expected that. And I scooped up Dyson Daniels way early in the year, and he's been awesome, especially after the trade deadline when they got rid of like DeAndre Hunter and I think Bogdanovich. He's been a stud too for me, especially his last month and a half or so.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I see that. Yeah, your old team's just murdering.
I don't know, man. Makes me nervous though with all these injuries that happened this year. Last year in the first round, Todd got me. I had Joker and Luca get injured and stuff like that, and so I don't know, man. You never know, dude. Feel good, but you never know.
All right, well, should we start talking about baseball?
Yeah, man. Let's dive in.
Coming up. We said in the beginning of the broadcast, we're gonna have the draft next Sunday at 6 Pacific time, or is it 6:30? I don't remember what I put on the thing now. But
I'm gonna give my usual disclaimer. Todd, tell Cammy now, so you can have that time free.
We shouldn't have to ask this every time.
It's Todd. I mean, what more can I say?
Yep. And Todd,
Figure out your life, Todd. Figure it out.
this before. Yep, March 9th at 6:30. All right. So we're set. We're on for the league gonna auto draft you Kyle Schwarber in the first round. Or what? For some
So who? So Henthorn won. He won baseball last year, also, right?
or one did.
He did.
Yep. Henthorn beat Nash, who had the best record in baseball or fantasy baseball history, regular season at least. Um, yeah, Henthorn beat Nash by 23 points in the championship.
Oh man, don't get Nash started on that. He said he blew it. He pulled a couple guys out last minute, got nervous, and he said if he left those guys in, he would beat Henthorn.
Really?
Nash, Nash made a lot of deals last year, traded away a lot of draft picks, future capital, I should say, because he was all in on last year, and it almost worked out for him.
I want to say Nash has 3 picks in the first 7 rounds or something like that.
Yeah, he dug himself a little bit of a hole.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's going to be a big year. Kevin, I think for the first time, you might have a chance to make the playoffs.
Yeah, we talked about this. My record in baseball is atrocious.
Yeah.
I think the first year I only won 2 games. Second year I only won 4. It was brutal, man.
Your best record in baseball is 500.
Jeez, that's
Well,
awful.
7 seeds. Other than that, I think you've been pretty much bottom 3 every year.
Pretty much. A lot
Yeah.
of injuries, a lot of horrible drafts. It's been a rough go,
Everyone
which is
else been
why
around, but yeah, it's been rough for you, man.
I feel like I deserve the first overall pick this year.
There's some good there's some good teams though in our league. People who have good keepers, and so it really just depends how you draft.
Hmm.
I've looked at teams and thought like you know Vituli in basketball this year. He had really good keepers with Wemby and Shea and Barnes, and I just thought, man, if Vituli just has a great draft, he'll do really well, right? And then there's other teams, and he is, and Phil Wemby got hurt, but and then there's other teams who have great keepers and then draft crappy and still end up last. We've all been there, but it really just depends on how you draft. So
Yeah, I think, since we keep 7 guys in baseball, everybody's probably has, 3 to 4 pretty good keepers, right? What usually separates those other teams from the top from the bottom teams are keepers, like 5, 6, and 7. That makes a big difference. And also just how you draft. I mean, last year my team, I had horrible keepers going into it last year. Arguably the worst set of keepers you possibly imagine.
yeah,
And, it just kind of goes on strategy. I tried to draft, younger guys with potential, up and coming guys, and hit on a few, missed on a lot. Made a couple trades, try to help things out a little bit. So I feel better coming into this year for sure. But you never know, man.
don't worry, your guys will get hurt. And there's plenty of time between now and opening day when guys can also get hurt.
Oh yeah.
Kind of got to base it off long term, especially in baseball. We're used to high scoring numbers in basketball and even football, but in baseball, your hitters are scoring anywhere between 0 and 8 points a game, right?
Right. Right.
Not even that much, but like the increments are much smaller in baseball when we're at this point in the year, so used to those high scoring fantasy basketball numbers. Um, but I'm looking at the overall points last year. Nash was number one. His differential between him and his opponents was 60, which was the most, and the second most was Henthorn with 28. on average, scored 28 more points per week than his opponent. So Nash scoring 60 almost guaranteed a victory every time.
You can see, I didn't know you can see that.
Yeah.
Wait, what was my differential?
So, differential.
Ah. Ooh, minus 13. Not good. Zach minus 63.
Actually, it's pretty good. That means you barely lost. You lost by an average of 13 points per week. I mean, not that much.
Nash at plus 60 is pretty solid though, man.
Yeah. I mean, look at Lloyd. Lloyd's 1.5 differential. Like that's, and he went 10 and 12, but if certain things changed, he could have been like, shoot, 15 and 8 or whatever it would be. So,
I think it's because Lloyd's so nervous throughout the season.
he gets really nervous, especially when it comes to making trades.
Oh man. He just
Do you think more
basically
nervous with making trades? Jason Lloyd or Todd Simmons?
well, there's two different things, right? Todd will receive a trade and make up these wild scenarios in his head. Like, well, what if I trade for this guy and he, all of a sudden, breaks his arm in a motorcycle accident or something like that? He'll make up these wild scenarios. Or where Jason would get, he opens up his team and sees it as a trade offer and instantly shits his pants before even looking at it. He just gets so nervous about it and goes back and forth, thinks about it for days, and then finally decides not to do it. So they're two different styles there. Todd gets emotionally attached to his players and makes up these wild stories about what could happen if he makes a trade, and Lloyd just, you know, takes all his clothes off, sits butt naked in the corner, sucking his thumb because he doesn't know what to do.
He gets real nervous. Lloyd does work better naked, though.
Hey, we don't call him the total package for nothing.
Everyone thinks it's because of Lex Luger.
No, he just has the total package.
So yeah, going back to these standings, I should probably not have unshared my screen. Going back to the regular standings, you can see here that Reeves had the worst record in the league.
And Reeves, Zach, if you're listening, pay attention to the draft, man. You had legit keepers last year. You probably had top four keepers overall in the league. Again this year, yeah. Come on, man, figure it out.
You will, because Reeves is a huge advocate of this podcast that we do every quarterly.
He's
really
probably our number one listener.
When is the next episode?
Reeves, love you for that, buddy. You're the man.
So, but the way our lottery is set up, Reeves, Christian, and actually Todd, who had a tiebreaker over Jeff, who's now Chris,
Hi, Chris.
same amount of balls, basically same amount of percentage to get the number one pick. As we can see here, 12th, 11th, and 10th place get the same amount of balls. It's just a rehash of what we did last episode. There's 50 balls in the pot. It's randomly selected by a website that's currently ready to go. But first through fourth place is disqualified for the lottery. The three first round losers qualify for 1, 2, or 3 balls. And then the non-playoff teams make out the rest of the order here. So, yeah, it's not as up to the same conventions as professional sports where the weight of losses means you get a better, even better percentage. I want to say in the NBA, I think it's like a 30, the bottom three teams get a 37%, I want to say, give or take a percentage, the chances to get the number one pick, where there's there's been some intentionally or unintentional tanking that has gone on this league. And so um we don't weight the balls as spread out like that. So yeah, 20% chance, and it really did Nashin for basketball. He was the worst team the year before this year, and he ended up with fourth place. So
Going into this year, Nash had arguably the worst team anybody's ever assembled in any sport.
I should say not fourth place.
What's that?
I meant fourth pick overall for Nash after getting last place, but made
Yeah,
up for it as the top baseball team.
true.
And Nash is having a better year in basketball this year, despite some shaky trades that have happened. But that's Nash, and he figures it out. So back to this. Based off the last year's standings, is how many balls that you get, and the lottery we do here live. This is kind of half the fun of doing these podcasts. Is we now, starting from last year, have switched to a lottery for all three sports, and this is how we're going to do things going forward. Um, Kevin, anything else you got to say?
No, I know that Jason is going to be very excited to finally find out the order. He's been on pins and needles this whole time. Zach, quick question. Over under Tommy John surgeries this year? Because there were a
Say
ton
under
last
because
year.
you couldn't quite beat what happened last year or the last 2 years. I'm just waiting for Skeens to tear his elbow up.
Anybody I know, I feel like any of the pitchers at any time, it's almost like if they don't even really tear it all the way, they're like, oh, just give him Tommy John, shelve him, we'll bring him back. It's been rough. Pitchers have been rough the last few years, you know.
Totally.
And I don't know if we touched on this real quick, but a lot of people, Andre, former member, the Serbian god that he is, so sexy. But he would always bitch and complain about, this being a pitcher heavy league and this and that. But really, I mean, I think you guys, 2 years ago, you probably had the best pitching staff and you made it to the championship. And Christian, I think, had the best hitting lineup and he made it to the championship. So there's really no wrong way or right way to build your team. You can even it out. You can go pitcher heavy, you can go hitter heavy. I think the hitters had, I think, the top five scorers in the league on a per game or total last year were hitters. Then you start sprinkling a couple of the pitchers, that kind of stuff. So I don't think there's really any right or wrong strategy when it comes to that. It's just, try to build the best team and build it however you want to.
Yeah, and how the scoring is set up, despite everyone at one time or whatever thinking it's pitcher weighted. It's not. How we judged and formulated the scoring at the beginning of this league years ago was, pitchers pitch every 5 days. So whatever the average scoring, I'd say more above average scoring hitter that isn't a waiver wire guy scored times that by five equals the same above average pitcher um, score per game. So we have seen a little dip in pitching. I think there were a time where there was a good 10 to 15 pitchers that pitched over 20 points per game by the end of the year. Now, I want to say last year there was only about three.
Yeah, three or four maybe.
Full.
I think, yeah, it's just changed, man. The game's changed with all the analytics and that kind of stuff, and that magic mark that the teams have when a pitcher hits 100 pitches thrown, whether it's in the fifth inning or the eighth inning, they usually get pulled. So we don't see as many complete games anymore. You don't see as many shutouts because it's more like a team effort these days. So I think that is probably the biggest reason why we've seen pitchers dip in scoring. For instance, like you were saying a couple years back, maybe 3, 4 years ago, there were 10 to 15 pitchers that finished above 20. Now you have maybe 3 to 5 that pitch above 20, and then maybe 10 or so that finish in the 18 to 20 range. So it's almost like 18 is now the new 20 or 20, what 20 or 21 used to be,
Yeah.
4 or 5 years ago. So it's changed.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. 1, 2, 4 pitchers scored over 20 a game last year.
Who were they?
It was Scooble was number 1, Sale was number 2, Wheeler was number 3, and Skeens was number 4.
Dude.
Oh, I lied. Glasnow and Logan Gilbert were 5 and 6. That's it.
And Wheeler just keeps on going, dude. And I thought Sale's career was about over, man, but he really had a resurgence there in Atlanta last year, big time.
Stock down though this year.
Ooh.
It does it again. All right, should we get into the lottery?
Let's do it, man.
First,
the whole world is waiting.
All right. Share my screen here. Okay, let's go to last year. Which we don't go by. We go by regular season standings and then how people finish in the playoffs. So if you happen to be the 7 seed going into the playoffs, but you win the championship, you have the last pick in the draft. Okay. As we can see here, Reeves dead last, so he is going to have the most balls with Christian and what happened? Christian and Todd. So then Chris will be 4th, have the 4th most. Kevin, you'd be 5th. Who's next? Scott, who lost in the Jason would be 5th. Scott, who lost in the first round, would be 7th, and then actually Trevor would be 6th. So how we have that set right here is how it mirrors the standings here. So one last look at that. And obviously myself, Henthorn, Nash, and Brad, who made the final 4, do not qualify for the lottery. So here is a brief look at kind of what this page says and how many balls each person gets. You see 12th, 11th, and 10th place. Each get 10 balls, have a 20% chance of winning. And there's that. So,
come on, number 1.
Just to show proof if anybody needs it, there's the time and date.
I can verify.
That means Kevin and I did not do this 5 times until we get the type of lottery that we wanted.
Which we never have done. Would have ever imagined.
We don't even do a practice one, especially if one of us are in, because you never know. That won't be a real one. So should we get into it?
God, I'm so nervous. Oh God, let's do it.
All right. All right, welcome to the 2025 baseball lottery for the draft that we are having in 9 days. So with the 8th pick, that's going to go to Scott. Had 1 ball anyway. That's how it's going to go. The 7th pick. Ooh, Christian. One of the second to last.
Oh,
man.
Hey, you know what? I don't feel bad for Christian. Christian has he's got the best player in the league, Otani. And then he's got arguably two of the top remaining 5 hitters with Jose Ramirez and Judge. So come on, Christian.
Yeah, and
You got the piece.
Christian's been always really good in baseball. He had a bad year last year, but you're right. He always has the best hitting in the league.
Yeah.
He'll be good. All right, that means somebody is going to be in the top 3
that shouldn't have been there.
All right, the 6th pick overall. There you
go. Come on.
Should we reset this? Should we redo the whole broadcast?
Hey, stop recording. Stop recording. You gotta be kidding me.
All right, man. Sorry about that. With the 5th pick, Trevor.
You know what, man? Just finish this by yourself. I'm out of here, bro. Little shit.
4th pick, Floyd.
What? Hey,
Floyd
that's that
2 spots.
That's that Derek Marcus magic still lingering for him.
Yep. We got 3 people left. We got
Todd, Chris, and Reeves.
Chris and Reeves. All right. So Todd and Reeves have the best percentage, and Chris had a 16% chance. So here we go with the 3rd pick overall. There's Reeves.
Didn't Reeves get the number 1 last year? Yeah, because he got Yamamoto last year.
Oh, yep.
Okay. Wow.
Oh, man.
Wow.
So with the 2nd pick overall.
This is some bullshit right here.
Todd.
Whoa.
Chris.
Newcomer Chris.
As the number 1 pick. And we won't make any guesses on who he might pick.
No, who knows, dude?
But that's good for Chris. New to baseball. Kevin, instant reaction for this lottery draft.
Stupid. Clearly, I should have had the number 1 pick. Lloyd moves up 2 spots. Biggest loser, Christian, though, man. Went from what should have been a top 3 all the way down to the 7th pick.
Yep.
That's rough. Chris got to be the winner, get number 1 overall. Lloyd moved up a couple spots also.
Lloyd moving from 6th to 4th is pretty big.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's good for Chris, man. Todd's got to feel good about number 2 overall.
Yep.
6th pick? That's some bullshit, man.
But I'm sure Marcell Ozuna will be there for you.
Hey, does Anthony Randolph play baseball now?
No, neither is Jordan Poole.
Damn it.
So there it is. I'm going to add these to the website. I should stop sharing my screen. Final thoughts?
I hate baseball. I'm not excited for it anymore.
Hey, but you have like 5 extra picks in the first 6 rounds. So you should be a playoff team for sure this year.
Man, if I can't make it happen this year, I might need to really rethink my life. So I'm sitting in a good spot with some decent keepers. All those extra picks. I just got to make sure I hit on this year, man.
Yep.
Congratulations to Chris, though.
Yeah.
Christian, sorry, buddy. That's rough.
Really rough.
But yeah, man, I'm excited. We're gonna March 6th. Wait, March 9th.
March 6th is the keeper deadlock date. I think we have it set at 8 at night Pacific time.
Has everybody selected their keepers, or have most of us now?
Only about half the league, I think, has selected their keepers. The site has notified me. So
Come on,
Everyone
people.
else has to go on, select their, still got a good week to select your keepers, and then, yeah, draft next Sunday, the 9th at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time.
Be there. I
All right.
think the plan is do it at Henthorn's house. Whoever wants to come.
Yeah. Whoever wants to make it to say them, we're gonna go golfing beforehand. Whoever golfs. Yeah, I'm excited.
It'll be a good time.
All right. Until next time.
Later.